Welcome to Castle in the Air. Today we will be making a waxed orange blossom crown. The Globe du Mariée is a French keepsake tradition dating back to the 1800s. Its many pieces are displayed together under a glass dome, and each element has a special meaning. The bird symbolizes love, as do the individual flowers. The leaves represent longevity of the marriage. As the marriage continued and the family grew, other mementos would be added: photographs, locks of baby's hair, and other symbolic figures. The ormolu-style pieces shown here are vintage, but you can make your own using Castle in the Air's collection of Dresden trim. Our Globe du Mariée also has an orange blossom crown made from waxed crepe paper. This would be worn by the bride on her wedding day and added to the arrangement after the wedding. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to make your own keepsake orange blossom crown. You will need the following supplies: doublet crepe paper in white and olive, florist crepe in 180 gram pineapple and 160 gram bright moss, brush, skewer, Aleene's tacky glue, Kai scissors, beeswax pellets, pink ribbon, foam block, ivory pips, 24 gauge wire, 22 gauge wire, 18 gauge wire, and a melting pot. You will also need a leaf and petal template. We've provided a link in the video description below for you to download. In this tutorial, we will first make the small orange blossom flowers, orange blossom buds, and leaves. Then we'll dip our orange blossom flowers, buds, and leaves in wax. After everything is waxed and hardened, we'll assemble our pieces into a beautiful waxed orange blossom crown. First, let's make our orange blossoms, starting with the pistil and stamen. Take your 22 gauge wire and wire cutters. Cut the wire into quarters. These will serve as a stem for your orange blossom. Each wire should be approximately 4.5 inches long. Then cut a small strip 2.5 inches long and 1/4 inch wide with the grain of the crepe paper facing vertically. Apply a small amount of glue to your 2.5 by 1/4 inch strip pineapple crepe paper. Take one of your cut wires. Starting 1/4 inch down from the top of the wire, wrap the pineapple crepe strip around the wire. What you'll want to make is a Q-tip-like shape. Creating a fringe for your stamen. Cut a strip from the pineapple crepe. It should be about 2 inches by 3/4 of an inch. Then fold the strip in half. Take your scissors and cut a series of small fringe cuts 3/4 of the way down without cutting all the way through the strip. You'll end up with a fringe with the base still intact like this. Twist each strip to make the fringe for your stamen. Apply a small amount of glue to the base of your fringe. Then wrap the fringe around the base of your pistil. You'll want your pistil to extend a little bit beyond your stamen. Take your scissors and trim any of the excess of the stamen, making sure they're uniform. Now for the petal construction. Cut a 1.5 inch tall by 3 inches long strip from your white crepe paper. Take your strip and fold it into 5 layers. Take your petal template and cut out your petals. This process will yield 5 petals for each flower. You're going to make 15 blossoms. Take your petals and attach them to the base of the stamen. Very little glue is needed. After your 5 petals are attached to the stamen, take a small round instrument and curl the petals backwards. We like to use the back end of a skewer. You will cut out a very thin 1/4 inch wide piece of olive floral tape. Dot a very light amount of glue across the length of the floral tape strip. Starting from the base of the stamen, wrap the floral tape around the stem, working your way down. Pull the tape gently to get a nice and tight wrap. Once you get to the bottom, tear off any excess tape and glue the end of the floral tape. Repeat this process with all of your blossoms. Now we'll make the large orange blossom buds. Take the length of the 22 gauge wire and cut so that you end up with quarters. Next, take your white doublet and cut a strip 1/2 inch by 7 inches long. Apply glue down the length of your strip. Grab one of your cut 22 gauge wires. Starting 1 inch from the top, wrap your white crepe paper strip around the wire, creating a Q-tip-like shape. Repeat this process with all of your 22 gauge wire stems. Next, you will cut out a very thin 1/4 inch wide piece of olive floral tape. Just like with your orange blossoms, you are going to wrap the tape around the stem. Starting from the base of the bud, work your way down, pulling gently and tightly. Tear off the excess and glue the floral tape end to the base of the bud stem. Repeat this floral tape wrapping with all of your orange blossom buds. You should make 8 to 10. Next, we'll make the smaller orange blossom buds. Take the smaller 24 gauge wire, fold the wire in half, and then cut the wire into equal thirds. Each wire should be about 3 inches long. Next, grab an ivory pip and cut it in half. Next, you're going to wrap an ivory pip and a 24 gauge wire together with floral tape. Starting from the base of the ivory pip, wrap the floral tape around the 24 gauge wire stem. Pulling gently, wrap the tape tightly down the stem. Cut off the excess and glue the floral tape to the end. Repeat this process with all of your ivory pips, yielding about 20. Now we'll make the leaves. We're going to make 8 florist crepe leaves and 8 olive crepe leaves. Cut strips of paper 3 inches long by 1.5 inches. Fold the strip in half. You should end up with a 1.5 inch square. Cut the strip into 2 squares. Next, stack the squares. Cut them diagonally. Each pair of squares will yield 2 complete leaves. Then line up 2 paired triangle pieces to make a chevron pattern square. The grain of the triangle should meet each other, forming a V pattern down the seam where they meet. Now we're going to glue the 2 halves together. Apply a small amount of glue down the diagonal cut. Then join the triangles together along their diagonal cuts. You should end up with a nice center seam with the grains forming a downward pointed chevron. Using your leaf template, cut your leaf shape. After the process, you should end up with a small leaf. Repeat this process to make 16 leaves. Take your 24 gauge wire and cut them into 3 inch pieces. Next, squeeze a small amount of glue down the seam in the center of the leaf. Then you'll apply the 24 gauge wire down the fold of the leaf. Gently press the wire into the fold. Repeat this process with all of your leaves. Waxing. Heat up your melting pot and add the beeswax pellets. Be very careful and use caution as the melting pot and wax can be very hot. Dunk each of your orange blossoms into the melting pot. Using your brush, spread the hot wax evenly and wipe off any excess wax. Stick your orange blossoms into the foam block to allow them to harden. We're going to do the same process to our orange blossom buds and leaves. You'll notice an excess of wax on some of your items. Scrape off the excess. It'll only take a few minutes for each one of your blossoms, buds, and leaves to dry. Assembling the crown. Cut several 1/2-inch thick floral tape strips from the floral crepe paper. Take 2 lengths of 18 gauge thin wire. Overlap the wires together to make one longer wire. Use glue to adhere the floral tape to the 2 overlapping wires. Starting 3 inches in, wrap the floral tape around the 2 wires. Continue to wrap the strips of floral tape around the wires until you get to the other end. Leave 3 inches of wire free on both ends. We'll worry about joining the ends after we finish assembling the crown. Take the floral tape wire and gently curve the wire to make a U shape. Take an orange blossom, leaf, and orange blossom buds to assemble a sprig. Starting at the center of the wire frame, wrap your sprig using floral tape around your crown, working your way out to the ends. The assembly of your crown is totally up to you. You can keep things nice and packed together or evenly spaced out. The choice is yours. Go ahead and arrange your blossoms to your liking. Once you've assembled your orange blossom sprigs, overlap the 2 ends and use floral tape to join both ends together. And there you have your waxed orange blossom crown. For supplies, please visit us at castleintheair.biz/shop. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and we will see you again.